Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I'll be actually showing you how to create a 3D carousel. Okay, what actually is a 3D carousel, and we will be creating it with the help of HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. Okay, now first of all, let us understand what is a carousel. Okay, so carousel means it's actually in your output you'll be getting some images. Let's say we have 3 images altogether. Okay, and it will be like a 3D animated images, and automatic scrolling will be there in the images. That means this image will come in the first, then the next second image will come, and then the third image will come, and so on. So as many images as you put, it will show you in a revolving 3D animated scrolling. So that is what we call as a carousel. Okay, so a carousel can be created with the help of various tools. Suppose one tool which is widely used, which is called as Figma. Okay, so if you Google out Figma, you can create the carousel with Figma itself. Okay, because it has various features in it, with the help of which you can create a ready-made carousel, a 3D carousel. Okay, but today here I'll be showing you how to create the 3D carousel. You'll be it will be much more clear in the output about the carousel, how it's looking like. Okay, with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, so as you can see in front of the screen, I have started with the HTML first of all. Okay, so just like the doc type, the HTML, you have to define the header and everything, and then the meta. Okay, and then a small title to the page, which the HTML page which I have created, I had given it as a 3D carousel. Okay, and then I've started the CSS. Okay, so for the CSS, what things we have to keep in mind? So for the images which you are putting it in your 3D animation, so for that what you have to do, you have to make sure that it comes in a form of a container. That means if suppose this is your screen and this is the place where your images should come in a 3D animated scrolling form, so here it should be there inside this particular container. This is the container and this is the image. Okay, so first of all, for the carousel we have to create a container, right? So for this particular container we have to do the CSS, right? So if you see the first part, this carousel container is for the container wherein the images will be there. So that's the CSS for this. Okay, so if you see, I've just mentioned with the comments, so we have to do the width, the height, which will adjust according to your need. Okay, like I have given 300 pixel, you can do it according to your need, like how big is your image, accordingly you can adjust the height. Okay, and the position you have to take it as relative. Okay, relative means like suppose you want to display it in the center of the screen, on the like the side of the screen, middle of the screen, that way. Okay, and the most important thing element in the CSS is for the carousel is perspective. Okay, perspective, which means 1000 pixel I have given, so that's for giving a 3D effect to your image. Okay, that means if you are putting 3 images, so the automatic scrolling should be there within the 3 images. Okay, so that's perspective inside the CSS element. Okay, now that we are done with the container, now comes on the carousel. Carousel means the images which will be in the form of a 3D. Okay, so for that we have to again do the CSS. So this is the CSS for the images. Okay, for the carousel itself, right? So what we have to do, the width, the height, and the transformation style, like it should be in a form of a 3D. So I've just given it as preserve 3D, and transform in 1 second. That means if I have 3 images, so this is my first image, the second image will come up in a transition form just after 1 second. Okay, and just after another second the third image will come, and this will be a kind of revolving, like this comes up and then second, then third. Okay, like an automatic scrolling, right? Or you can also say an automatic sliding. Okay, so in order to, like, we have given when should the time span, when should the images should come up, okay, in the carousel, that is 1 second transition. But what we have to do, we have to also add in the CSS that it should be in a sliding form or in a scrolling form, right? So for that, I have just used this dot slide CSS, okay, and inside it I have just mentioned the width, the height, position, transform style, and back face visibility. That means, so back face visibility means, suppose you have an image, the back side of the image should not be visible because it's a 3D part, right? It's a 3D image, so it's possible that the backside of image can be visible. Okay, so for that I have just make it as hidden in order to just ensure that the visibility is, proper. Okay, so these slides are done. The CSS part is done. Now what we have to do, we have to move on to the body part. This is the body part, wherein you have to add the container, that is the div class. Okay, so I have added a class, carousel container, okay, inside which I have taken 3 images. So as of now I'm just working with 3 images. You can add more and more of images just underneath it, okay, inside the div itself. So this is my source image which I have taken. Okay, this is a source image, and if you see in the div I have written class will be sliding because I want a sliding 3D animated carousel, right? So it will be sliding and it should be rotating from 0 degree to and to 240 degree. Okay, so if you see the first image I have given it as 0 degree, second image as 120, and then the last image as 240 degree. Similarly you can add it in yours carousel. Okay, multiple images you can add. Okay, depends what kind of carousel you are creating. Now this is done, the CSS is done, the div providing the images to the CSS, that is also done. Now the scripting part, that means the JavaScript part. So in the JavaScript part, what you have to do, you just have to use the document.query selector. Okay, so I have just using the document.query selector. That means what it will actually do, it will select the carousel in which you are working. Okay, this particular carousel, it will be selecting it, and then you have to just use a function. So first of all you'll start with 0, okay, and then you have to use a function rotate carousel. Okay, so rotate carousel, and it will rotate by 120 degree, and then 240 degree, and so on. Okay, so basically inside your JavaScript you just have to make a function, okay, wherein you will be addressing your carousel, okay, with the help of dot carousel, and then you will be creating a function which will indicate over there like the rotation, like how it will rotate, the animation, the degree, okay, like the x-axis, y-axis, angle, that you have to mention it inside your JavaScript. Okay, so this is the whole code which I wrote for the 3D carousel. Okay, so now before I show you the output, let me tell you something, how actually I came up with this particular video and thought of showing it to you guys. It's not like it's very difficult to create it. Okay, it's for beginners, a good project. Okay, but the most important thing is you have to first of all actually understand how it is working. So what I did, there was a video in the YouTube which I saw. So some person uploaded the 3D carousel which he made it with the help of Figma and animation. Okay, so Figma is a tool. Okay, so he created with that, right? So after seeing that video, I just analyzed, if this particular carousel can be created with a tool, why not it can be created with HTML, CSS and JavaScript? Because you have to just add the images and you have to just add the time frames and transformations and the 3D. These are the 4 major things, right? The image, the time frame, the transformation and the perspective. That's it, the 4 things. Okay, so that is how I came up with this particular coding and the output. Now let us guys show you the output, how it will look like. Okay, so I'll just open it off. Now if you see right over here, this is the output in front of you. This is my 3D carousel. If you see the file name, and I have added 3 images, and this is how the 3D carousel looks like. So if you see, now you will be able to understand how or what do you mean by a carousel. So I added 3 images, right? So if you see, this is my first image, and then after 1 second the second image comes up, so that's a sliding one, and then the third image comes up, and so on. It keeps on, since it's there is a 3 image, so it keeps on repeating. If you want to add more than 3 image, you can add it here similarly. Okay, isn't it interesting? Like a good project for you guys to make it for your, like universities, for your schools, or for your office. Okay, so you can do lots of animation in this particular carousel. So this is called as a carousel, wherein your all the images will be rotating, or it will be, a 3D animated scrolling, wherein the scrolling will be done automatically, and it's in a form of an 3D animation, and it will be rotating in the axis. Okay, like start one is 0 degree, and then 120, then 240. Accordingly, you can give your rotation as well. Okay, so that's it guys for this particular video. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please go ahead and hit the like button, share it as much as you can with your friends, with your colleagues, and with those who are actually looking for a good project in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to receive the latest updates regarding the coding, and hit the bell icon. We will be back with another tutorial, yet a free one, on Python, CSS, C++, Java, JavaScript, whichever language you want. Thank you so much guys for watching. Take care. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.